Hi guys, I'm Annabelle and welcome to Meeple Village. Today we continue digging into those shelves and checking out the game collection. If you haven't checked out our other videos in which I show you some of the games that are on the shelves, go ahead and check those out. Also, if you see any video that catches your eye that you want to learn more about, don't be shy. Leave me a comment below and we'll do our best to get to that one. So, join me at the shelves and let's take a look at the board game collection. Okay guys, let's keep going. What is on the shelves today? The first game, all right, here it is, small one. This is the Castles of Burgundy. Now the Castles of Burgundy is a filler game. And what a filler game means, for those of you that do not know, it means it's a pretty short game that you can play between two long games, or while you're waiting for a group to finish up a game they're almost done but not quite. This only lasts like 15 to 30 minutes, so it's a pretty quick game. Now it is a roll and write game, and what that means is that you're going to be rolling dice. There's a picture of the dice right there. And you're going to be filling in spaces in a little sheet of paper. Every game you're going to be using a sheet of paper per player. And that's where you're going to be kind of indicating what you've done, what you've built, what progress you're making in the game. It is a fun little game. We've done a video on it already, so if you want to go watch that and learn more about the Castles of Burgundy. Okay, the next game on the shelf is Azul. Now, Azul is a pretty famous game. A lot of people have heard about it. We've done a video on this already, so you can see the full run through. We did like a video where I was playing, I think it was Darth Vader against Luke Skywalker or some crazy thing like that. It was kind of fun. In this game, you're laying down tiles, and it's a very abstract game. You're laying down tiles to make points. You're trying to make columns and rows and collect all the colors. And there's a lot of hate draft, which means that you're trying to watch out what the opponent is doing so you can kind of stop them from getting more points than you're getting. So it is a fun game. It's a fast game, easy to teach, easy to learn, and fun to play. And you can play it pretty quickly. I mean, at home we do game after game after game. So championships of Azul. So anyways, that is Azul. You want to learn more? There's a video on Meeple Village on it, so go watch it. Let's check out the next one. The next game is Marvel Villainous. Now, Marvel Villainous is kind of part 2 of Disney Villainous. If you're not familiar with Disney Villainous, then you're not familiar with Marvel Villainous. But in both of those games, you are taking the role of villains. You are the bad guy. And who doesn't want to be a bad guy sometimes, right? So in this game, you are taking the roles of the bad guys like Thanos and Ultron and all those other Hela. There's a bunch of people that you'll know, and you're fighting off, well, the Avengers, Thor and Nick Fury and all those other ones that you know and love. It's a worker placement game. You're moving your piece every turn and doing the actions that are available in the place where you moved into. There's also cards, and you have to be able to manage your card. It's not a deck builder. You always have your same deck, but you have to manage the cards that are in your hand to be able to play them at the right time. And the great thing about the game is that every villain has a different objective. So not one character plays the same, which can be great, can also be really complicated, because until you know all the characters and how they win, it's really hard to stop your opponents. But once you play through all the characters, and they're all fun to play because they're all very thematic, then you have a really good footing on, oh, okay, my opponent is trying to do this. That's why he's playing that card or this card. That's why she's doing this. You can keep a better eye on them. But we've also done a full run through of Marvel Villainous. If you want to see how it plays, I believe it was Hela versus Taskmaster. It was a fun one, so go ahead and watch it if you want to learn more about Marvel Villainous. Okay, next up, we have Dungeons and Dragons Adventure Begins. And this is a fairly new game. It came out recently. Of course, if you're watching this game with this video when it came out. We've also done a full run through of this game. And let me tell you, that one was really, really funny. There were some moments where even I was like cracking up. So there is a full video of how to play it, how it goes, how it feels like on our channel. Now, this is an introduction to Dungeons and Dragons, really, is what they're trying to do. In the game, it's a dungeon crawler. You're going to go through a dungeon and you're going to meet locations that, if you're familiar with Dungeons and Dragons, you're going to know, like Neverwinter. And in the game, you're going to go ahead and change DM. What is a DM? A dungeon master. So D&D is very famous for having a dungeon master that tells a story, and then players that kind of just feed into that story and do what they can with it. So in this game, you're going to have the DM change players every time, so everybody will kind of experience what it feels like to be a DM. It's very scripted, so you'll read a script, a little story snippet, and then it'll ask you to do something to resolve it. It could be like telling a crazy story or dancing around, who knows? Or it could just be rolling dice and see who gets the largest result. But it is a fun game to introduce, like even if you want to play with your kids, it's a really good game for that because it's kind of fun, very creative. You can really go all out. You have to play with the right people because if you're going to play with people that are boring, then you're going to be bored as well. But Dungeons and Dragons, good introduction to D&D. Adventure begins. Let the adventure begin. And now the last game we are going to do is Dead of Winter. Now, Dead of Winter is one of my favorite games. It really is. In Dead of Winter, there are zombies. You had me at zombies. Now, this is a survival game, so you it's kind of like co-op, semi-co-op you could call it, because you all are working together to beat the zombies, to complete an objective. Maybe it's finding food, maybe it's, I don't know, bringing other people that are outside of the camp and bringing them to safety of your shelter. But in the game, there can be a traitor. So one of the players can be actually trying to thwart your plans, and you won't know until the end of the game. It's a difficult game to play because of that, and just because, I mean, it's an apocalypse and there's zombies out there, so of course. But you're going to locations, you're searching through cards, you're searching through much needed equipment and food and medicine and all of that stuff that you're gonna need to survive. You're solving crises, but you're also managing your shelter, making sure that there's not enough garbage, because then of course the place stinks and nobody wants to live in there. So again, it's a fun zombie game that you can play with families. I also love the fact that it's very story driven. It actually has the crossroad system where before in each person's turn, someone else is holding a story in their hand, a card that has a story. And if it's applicable to what that character is doing, then you read it out loud, and there's usually a decision that is kind of cool to see what, sometimes you have to vote, all the players have to vote together, but sometimes it's an individual decision. So it's very, very cool when you get those stories in Dead of Winter. And that's it. That's the games for today.